From online co-op to single-player campaigns, we've got the list of the 10 best shooters available on Oculus Quest. And one honorable mention to close it out. At 10 is Phantom Covert Ops. Yes, this is technically a stealth game, but its FPS mechanics are far more developed than a lot of the entries on this list, which is definitely reason enough to include it. In Phantom Covert Ops, you cruise on into a hostile facility by kayak, and over the course of the night, you use silenced weapons to sneak through the trenches. If your stealth skills can't keep you hidden, you can always lean back on your trusty machine gun to mow down the baddies and get you out of trouble. Phantom is a polished experience that any shooter fan should absolutely consider. Oh, and the main bad guy is voiced by David Hayter.
I'm David Hayter, and I play antagonist General Nikolai Zhurov in Phantom Covert Ops.
Look out, Agent. Incoming.
I was just getting started.
At number 9 is Robo Recall Unplugged, a classic VR wave shooter that recently found its way onto Quest, which is a surprise to us as the high graphical fidelity of the original seemed too much for Quest to handle. Although the visuals aren't quite on par as the PC VR version, which Quest port is, its charm and fun is just as arresting on Quest. Make your way through homicidal robots in creative ways using your vast arsenal of weaponry and earn high scores while you're at it. This is a must for every VR fan.
Service customer request noted. No screen.
Great, now they control that area.
At number 8 is Larcenauts, the latest game from Farpoint developer Impulse Gear. For those of you who haven't heard of Farpoint, which I don't blame you for as it was a PSVR exclusive, it's a single-player survival shooter. Larcenauts, however, is quite far removed from its predecessor. It's a 6v6 hero shooter, where you pick from a cast of 8 character classes with varied abilities who are a ton of fun. Larcenauts had a tiny bit of a shaky launch, but now with manual reloading and sprint options included, it's much easier to dial in on the fantastic hero shooter gameplay, which has been finely balanced to make sure each character plays an important role. Larcenauts takes a bit to really learn, but once you do, you'll find one of VR's deepest and most rewarding shooters. With the success of Fortnite and the Battle Royale genre, something similar coming to VR was inevitable. Late last year, Population 1 filled that gap in the market, and it's at number 7. If you're looking for a VR Battle Royale to play with friends, look no further. This 3-man, squad-only shooter follows the same basic premise as Fortnite, complete with a basic wall-building system. But the addition of climbing and deployable wingsuit for gliding sets it apart by letting you scale any building or structure. The game has received plenty of post-launch support and content updates, so if you're looking for a multiplayer VR FPS to sink your teeth into long-term, Population 1 is probably your best bet. At number 6 is Contractors. What this military-themed shooter lacks in visuals on Quest, it makes up for performance, content, and gameplay. Similar in pace to a Call of Duty game, Contractors features a wide selection of loadout options and different guns, all with active reloading. There's tremendous freedom of movement as well, if your stomach can handle it, like being able to jump, sprint, and slide around maps. You can play solo missions, but the real focus is multiplayer, where you'll choose between co-op objectives and online competitive PvP matches. At 5 is Pistol Whip, which is not a shooter in the traditional sense. You're wielding a gun, but you use it in a way that combines shooters with rhythm games, mowing down enemies to the beat of the music. The more in time you are with the track, the higher your score. While it's a well-worn comparison at this point, the game lands somewhere between Beat Saber and Super Hot, and definitely not in a bad way. The game launched with 10 original tracks, but has added a bunch more in free post-launch updates. If you're looking for a shooter rhythm hybrid, give Pistol Whip a shot.
As the Axis column snaked towards us, Dante knew we had to work fast.
If you're into non-VR shooters, then you've definitely heard of this next entry. It's Sniper Elite VR at number 4. Rebellion's VR spin-off of its shooter series took a while to materialize, but the wait was well worth it. VR breathes new life into an aging formula with fantastic weapon handling that asks players to manually reload rifles and large levels that have you mixing up stealth with full-on firefights. Though Sniper Elite VR might be a fairly routine shooter by flat screen standards, its full campaign makes it a refreshingly meaty quest offering, and one of the best VR shooters. Alright, now we're in our top 3 VR shooters with Onward. If you're looking for a competitive multiplayer shooter, then Onward has to be your pick. In our review, we dubbed Onwards as the definitive military sim FPS. You play in 5v5 battles against other players online, with an array of weapons and 3 game modes to choose from. While it's missing the visual fidelity and some custom features of the PC VR version, many of which have been promised to arrive in a future update, it is still easily one of the best multiplayer VR shooters on the Quest. As we put it in our review, this should be in every Quest user's library that enjoys shooters, hands down.
Well, look at you, tourist, choosing sides.
At 2 is The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. As a survival game, shooting is only one part of the overall Saints and Sinners experience, and the game's real joy is in its melee weapons. But Skydance Interactive's physics-driven approach makes for some of the most interesting weapon handling you'll find on Oculus Quest. With pistols that need to be properly steadied with 2 hands, and 2-handed weapons that can be a genuine handful if you don't get the right process down. This makes raids on enemy camps and back against the wall zombie shootouts unlike anything you'll find on the platform. And at number 1 is Superhot VR. Superhot has found itself near the top of so many of our lists, but for good reason. The game is an innovative take on the FPS genre. While it's fun on any VR platform, the Quest is undoubtedly the best headset to play the game on. The wireless freedom truly unlocks Superhot's full potential. You can spin, bend, and crouch your way out of sticky situations that culminate to make one of the most inventive and unique shooters in VR history. Before we finish up here, we have one honorable mention, or several if you count all of their games. We want to give Team Beef a huge shout out for their consistently fantastic ports of classic games available to download via SideQuest. They've ported games like Doom 3, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, and more. If you want to find out how to use SideQuest to try these out, then check out the guide in the top right of this video. And that wraps up our top 10 best Quest shooters. Let us know if this list matches your own, and make sure to subscribe and hit the notifications button to keep up with the latest in VR.